All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We are going to get started today. Try to, again, just go about an hour in time to respect your schedules. So can you guys all, I'm trying to figure out technology. Can you see the screen and the agenda for today? All right. So again, at the beginning of every meeting, I'm just going to post that resource page that we are putting all of our information on. Just remember that anything we talk about during these meetings as far as resources or tools, we are adding to the end of this resource page with the date of the meeting and then the links to those things that we've talked about. Some updates from ASCA. These are toolkits that they have posted on their website. A couple of them we showed last week, but I did want to just show you the virtual elementary school counseling and middle school counseling just so you can see those. These were new as of this week. So some of you in your surveys had said that you'd like to see more tools that you can actually work with your virtual counseling. Again, I haven't had time to go through and vet all of these, but it looks like there's some short videos, links to different lessons that you can be using with virtual education. This is at the elementary level again, books. TV shows that the kids can watch on different topics in Spanish. So all of these tools are under this link, and it's also on the ASCA website under headings, bully prevention, academic. Just keep skimming. College and career. And then here, suggested technology for elementary school counselors. Some we've talked about, and we've used quite a bit. Some of them, I'm familiar with Class Dojo, but I've never seen Seesaw or S'mores. But as an elementary counselor, you guys might have seen or used those tools already. So just a nice resource there. And then they've done the same thing with middle school counseling, and I know that they're working on the high school side of things as well. They just haven't put the high school page out there. So again, some virtual lessons. Nearpod, I looked through this a little bit. It seems like Nearpod is what they've used for most of these lessons. And it does talk about creating your own interactive lesson. Go Noodle SEL. The new ZLA, I have that, and I've got on a little bit and looked at that. They have some good tools on there. And again, they just break it down by topic. So self-awareness, self-management, social awareness. So just some tools that you guys can start looking at. Might help you a little bit with how you're putting out your lessons. If you need some guidance or just ideas. Brain Pop is on this one. There's some videos. Again, college and career. Most of us are familiar with ONET. They have ONET on here. Virtual tours, campus tours. So again, just a lot of different resources all in one spot. And again, those are posted. They'll be posted on our resource page. They'll be on this agenda, and they're on the ASCA website. So a bunch of different ways to utilize these tools. All right. I just wanted to show that to you guys because I know as I've been going through the surveys and looking at those that there were several of you that had said, you know, I have some ideas, but I'm not exactly sure how to put it out there or what I want it to look like. So hopefully these can start helping you out. And I know that the goal of Ask is to have the high school toolkit out very soon as well. Any comments or questions on that? Very quick run through of those. I just want to, my favorite part of our meetings is definitely giving you guys a chance to ask questions and visit with each other about different things. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on those resources right now. I do appreciate those of you that took time to fill out the survey. We ended up with 55 responses. And from that survey, for 80% of you, 9 o'clock on Fridays continued to work. I want to try to figure out a way for the 20% that can't make it on Fridays, but just still kind of throwing around some ideas. So for as of right now, we'll just keep going 9 o'clock on Fridays. And then the question of, would you like to meet every week? 76% still said yes. So please just do what's best for you. If every week is just too much in your schedule, just remember we do have those recorded and they are on our WYSCA page. So all of the resources are there under the resource tab on our WYSCA website. So we'll just continue to meet every week and just post those there for those of you that just feel like every week is just too much. I am looking through some really good feedback on some ideas of how to make this an even better experience when you guys log on. So today I pulled from there for a couple different things and we'll continue to do that. I might be emailing some of you and just saying you had a great idea in your survey. Would you be willing to share that with the group? So if you get an email from me, you please feel free to say, I don't really want to do that, but we have so many wonderful counselors and experts within our ranks that I just want to make sure that we are utilizing our amazing membership and staff, or not staff, but amazing counselors from the state. So if you get one of those, again, please feel free to say no if that is not in your comfort zone. The next one on number 4 was again, just a resource. Dr. Aldrich shared with me an article on how to teach social emotional learning. So that link is on there if you would like to look at that. I read through it, has some good points in there. I just wanted to share that with you. And here we'll get into kind of the meat of our meeting today. It ended up kind of cool just having a topic from that elementary range as far as transitioning 5th graders to 6th graders. The next one down is kind of a K-6 topic and then more of a high school topic. So kind of covering again different areas within our K-12 world. So Suzanne, are you on?
I am.
All right, if you want to take over, that would be awesome.
Okay, you can stop sharing your screen if you want to. I can see more people. All right, so I, again, as Suzanne Scott, Rollins Elementary School counselor, so we have K-5, and I was just thinking, like last week, what if we don't go back? Like there's so many things I do to transition them to middle school, like I'm not going to get to do any of that. And so I started brainstorming just in my own little head some ways that maybe we could still reach out to those 5th graders and teach them. Make sure to mute yourselves, guys, if you're not muted. Thanks. And so I was just thinking, and I reached out to my middle school counselors, and I haven't heard from them yet. I know they're probably super busy right now, but I was thinking, well, even if people aren't technically in the building, we're at least in our district still allowed like to come into the building. I actually have to come in and do more Mustang packs on Friday, which is why I'm usually in my office for this meeting on Fridays. So if your staff can get into the building, I thought about having our middle school counselors just take their iPad or whatever around the building and like record a little virtual tour of the middle school for those kids that might not physically get to go tour the middle school. And they can talk about the different parts of the building and the different activities they have over there. And then in addition to that, that could be one thing that they do. And then in addition to that, I thought they could have their own Zoom meeting with the specialty teachers, because usually when we go on our tour, the students will stop in the STEM room and the teacher will talk to them about what they do in STEM, and they'll stop in the choir room and she'll talk about what they do, and so on and so forth. And so I thought, well, they could at least like record a Zoom meeting where each specialist teacher still gets to talk about what they do, and then we could push that out to the fifth graders. As well as the third thing that usually happens is that the school counselor and the principal usually come down to our building and visit with each of our fifth grade classes and do their little PowerPoint presentation and their talk about middle school expectations and some of the rules, and I'll answer all the typical questions like, can we use our cell phone? Can we wear hoodies? Can we use our backpacks in the hallway and all that kind of stuff? They could kind of do the typical Q&A and another recorded Zoom, like share their screen PowerPoint kind of thing. And then we can push that recording out to the students too. Because we are the only elementary in our town, there's like 125 students. Otherwise, if it were smaller, we could just invite them to an actual live Zoom meeting with the principal and the school counselor. So those were three things that I thought about. Well, even if we can't physically be there, they could still do some recordings and things and try to post that in our fifth grade teacher Canvas classrooms, so students could still get on there and look at that. And sure, it's not the same as actually going and trying the locker combination yourself, but I think that's the best we're going to be able to do, unless anybody else has any brilliant ideas on how to do that. But I especially like the idea of an actual like recorded tour, so they could kind of see the building and things. And then, depending on how things go in the fall, hopefully they get to go to the back to school open house and see things themselves. But so those were just some things I thought about. I know Lois has a question later, I think, about the career stuff, and we didn't get to do our career day either, but I have some things that I can talk about too with that. But unless anybody else has any other, like, if you've thought about what you're going to do for those transitions, I know the same can kind of be said of 8th grade to 9th grade too, as well, with a lot of things that usually happen, and how you guys deal with those kinds of transitions when we can't physically be there.
Yeah, does anyone have anything they'd like to share about what they're considering for transitions? I know that when we do 8th to 9th grade, we generally have students share about things. So maybe again, recording some students and having them as part of those videos. What other ideas do you guys have?
Amy, this is Lois. We do like a move up day with our elementary. So every grade moves up on the one day. And so now I'm thinking, as Suzanne was talking, how could we still do something like that virtually? I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to meet with my elementary staff and see what they think. We're still waiting to see what our plans are for May yet. So I'm not going to get too excited about it yet.
I definitely think that's the hardest thing right now, is not knowing what May looks like for many districts. I think as we move forward, it's just a wait and see, and then hurry up and plan something. And I know that as I've been talking with my administrators, it would almost be nice to just know at this point what May looks like, whether it comes from the governor or what. But I guess at this point, we just brainstorm ideas and have a plan and go from there.
Anybody else want to share? I see in our chat doing a Google Meet for parents, kind of to take that place of the meetings we would normally have with our parents, because there is a lot of anxiety for them. Big move up to middle school. All right, if you think of anything else, just put it into that chat box. Next, I think, was Lois. If you wanted to visit a little bit about your career exploration.
I was basically looking for ideas because this is the time of year that I do that with my K through 6, because I'm a K-12 school counselor, and I've been on Teachers Pay Teachers. I've been on Facebook. Now I'm excited about the one that you shared, the ASCA one, to see what they have in there. But I'm looking for interactive ideas, or what are people doing? So I'm just looking for ideas with it.
Lois, I just put it in the chat. I don't know if I've shared it before, but it's the Pause and Jobland link. And sadly, this is what I was doing right before we had to close. And so half of my second graders got this lesson. But we found, because technically there's like a paid version, but there's a way to get to it without paying for it. And so if you go to that link, then there's like 2 choices, and you can click on that, like join Pause, and it'll take you to Pause and Jobland. And they have, I don't know if anybody's ever used it before, but they have all kinds of like videos that kids can watch about the person's job and stuff. And then they can, there's even the little self-interest quiz and stuff. Yeah, that's what I thought, that we had it on there from earlier. But, I just pushed that link out to kids and things. And, there's another one that, like, my computer keeps saying I need like Adobe Flash Player or something, that Virginia Career View is another good one that has like games and stuff. So but those are my 2 go-to ones usually.
I know, Suzanne, I've used the Pause and Jobland when we used to pay for it, so it had a big book and it had everything, and then I got away from using it, and I've used the Virginia one. It's got some really good stuff on it. There's a lot of games and stuff kids can play. So I just wondered if anybody had anything interactive that they were doing. I kind of built a Google slide where the students can go in and build their slide, and then we could do like a classroom presentation with it. I can't require anything. Our district is not letting me do actually lessons with our students. They feel they have enough with their core, but they've said I can do enrichment.
The other thing that might be able to be done virtually, if, like you said, if kids choose to do it, if you want and kind of a back and forth thing, is have kids, find pictures or post pictures of, even if their parents would let them, of course, with permission. It'd be kind of tricky maybe, but like pictures of their parent and the job they do, and then talk about which career cluster it goes in or something. Or even, I always like to do stuff even with K-5, like the career clusters, and talk about the different jobs and how they fit into the different careers, or do some kind of sort thing or something with jobs they might be interested in, and which career cluster would it fit in.
And we will, the links that you guys are posting in this chat, we'll get those put onto our resources tab. See, there's a link for seniors, or juniors and seniors, WDE workshop, bigfuture.org. So again, we'll continue to keep those resources posted. What other ideas do you guys have or want to share before we move on?
This is Coral, counselor in Sweetwater County 1. We were talking about lots of doctors are more available right now and online giving advice just because they might be optional doctors, and there's a lot of other professional people out there that are more reachable than they normally are. And we were maybe thinking of spinning, maybe an attempt to reach out, or students asking them how the pandemic has affected them and how they've adapted to it. What employability skills change when you're virtual, things like that. So.
Thank you for sharing. Okay. Again, if you think of something you want to share and just don't want to unmute your mic, go ahead and type it in the box. Another topic that came up from our surveys was graduation ideas. What are districts doing? What are they considering? I know some districts have already made a decision, and some are, again, kind of waiting to see how May will play out. But if we can just maybe discuss that, and if you have a role in graduation, some districts counselors have a big role. Some of them, they plan everything. Some they're part of the credit checks. I mean, we can talk about anything around that. I know for our district, our school board meeting is on Monday to talk about graduation, and there are several ideas that are on the list. There are other districts that have already decided going with more of a option like the kids pulling up in their cars to get diplomas. So go ahead and just share what your districts are doing.
This is Lisa. Good morning, everyone. I'm still in my jammies, so I'm not going video this morning. Rough night last night. Anyway, our district was talking about, because we are very small K-12, we're only graduating 17 this year. And I know there are quite a few K-12 little schools out there, but we were talking about using our football field and stadium bleachers for graduation. When we had, and I'm kind of going to talk a bird walk here, but when we were in the path of totality on the eclipse, and we gridded our football field and used that for spaces for campers, for people to come in with tents and camp. So we were talking about gridding the football field, and with as few families as we have, we would be able to allow a certain number, close family members of the graduates to come in and sit on the football field, maintaining the social distancing. And then our town golf course has agreed to let us use golf carts for the seniors. So we've talked about having them come in on the golf carts, walking up the way our bleachers work. We have like a set of stairs on one side and a set of steps on the other, and then a walkway across the front, so they could be elevated, walk across, pick up their diploma, walk back down, and then they've talked about doing a little golf cart parade through town for the people who can't come. And then we talked about possibly, those picture moments, putting them under our scoreboard and putting the score at 2020 and then the timer at 2020, and just kind of really doing as much as we can within the, the guidelines. So I don't know if that's gonna go or not, but that was probably some of the most fun collaboration we've had since this all started, because the seniors were on a meeting with us, and so they were able to talk about what they wanted, and a lot of parents on the meeting. And so I think just honoring those kids and getting some great feedback, it was really neat. So yeah, so that's kind of, I think that, and then because we have a contingency plan in case, which might be the stadium, then a contingency plan on the contingency plan in case the weather's bad, because May is notorious for thunderstorms. So anyway, just some thoughts of what we're doing there. I think it would be a lot of fun. So we're kind of trying to work out the logistics.
I like how you put it that it's a contingency. So you may still have your traditional graduation, but if not, then you have your plans in place. What other ideas have you guys been talking about with your administration?
Hi, everyone. This is Molly Mulcahy, and I work at Wyoming Connections Academy with Jamie Lockhart. And we are an online school, but we typically always have an in-person graduation because it really is something that's meaningful to seniors. But we this year are thinking we probably won't be able to because our students come from all over the state. So not only would we all be together, we would be asking people to travel through lots of towns. And so we haven't made a final determination yet, but we're really looking towards no. But we work closely with our counterpart, which is International Connections Academy, and they have students from all over the world. And so every year we do some of our elective classes to them, but they have full-time students too, and they do an online virtual graduation every year. And they're really well practiced at it. And so we have been kind of leaning towards that idea, just because we have so many people coming in. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But we don't have, we have a meeting with them next Wednesday with the people who set up their graduation next Wednesday. So where they're going to kind of talk about some of their ideas and like how they orchestrate it and make it not really, make it meaningful, make it feel like it's something that matters to the students. So Jamie and I next week will be able to share out some of that information if that's anything that any districts are even considering at all. I know some of the colleges are going that way too. So I don't really have anything right now, but we might be able to provide some ideas next week or after that.
Thank you. That would be great.
No, in Carbon County, our district was thinking something kind of like was it Lisa that was talking about the, like, not golf carts, but just cars kind of having like through our parking lot, have kids come through and then get out, walk across the stage and get back in and, and go around. But the other thing that they were talking about doing that I thought would be kind of cool is having and we have about 100 seniors having their senior picture blown up and the senior posters like throughout our downtown, so you could drive through downtown and throughout the next couple of weeks or whatever and see all the pictures of the seniors and stuff, since you don't get to see them out and about or at the school or whatever. So I thought having their pictures up in the windows of different businesses in our downtown stretch, that was kind of cool too.
It's a little early for Powell in Park County 1. We just started having the conversation with our seniors and families this week, but I know that I've heard some things thrown out there of maybe using the drive-in theater that we have here in town as an option. The parade was definitely an option. And so I know this is not the best of situations, but I'm just, it's been fun a little bit to watch creative minds work. How can we still celebrate these seniors, have them feel, we're all in this together, and it maybe wasn't the best year that they could have had, but we're going to make the best of a situation. So it's been fun to watch the creative mind work.
This isn't about graduation, but something we're doing at Kelly Walsh to celebrate the seniors is we have our student councils put it out there to have the kids decorate their door, with 2020, whatever, and then we're putting it on social media. So far, quite a few kids have done it, and it's kind of fun.
This is Kayla Wilkinson. To piggyback off of what you just said, I don't know who started it, but I've been seeing a lot on social media, an adopt a senior type thing, which has been super cool. I cannot believe how many people are begging to, they're like, seniors are going like hotcakes. Like they're just, you can barely get them. I mean, the second they're posted, somebody's like, I'll take them. And I think that's super cool. We haven't, as far as I know, we haven't had any real discussions about alternate plans for graduation, but that is one of the really cool community things that I've seen pop up to support our poor seniors in this time that are kind of getting the short end of the stick with, being recognized and acknowledged and celebrated for their, achievements. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question Kara just put in. What does that look like then? What exactly do other people do for that senior?
So from what I've been seeing, and don't quote me on this because I don't have a senior and I haven't even been able to snatch one myself yet on this. But from what it's looking like is that, the parents will post their seniors, name and their senior photos on this specific Facebook page. And then the people who, the other adults in the community, are able to, they post like a little bio of them and what their achievements have been. And then whoever adopts them, direct messages the parents for like their address and their phone number. And then it's kind of up to them whether they're, dropping off weekly little gifts or, so my idea, the only one I could, I guess, is really speak for me was to like do like a weekly little, like a gift card and like a note that says, like, hey, great job. Just inspirational kind of quotes and then like a little gift for them. I know somebody else was doing something like they would do like a scavenger hunt for that particular senior. It's kind of cool. Like I'm sure the sky's really the limit. But that's what I've been seeing. Those are the ideas that have popped up.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I hadn't seen that up till now, but that's cool. All right, guys, other ideas around seniors, celebrating seniors, graduation that you'd like to share out that you haven't seen yet?
Hi, this is Corey Black from Cody, Wyoming. And tonight in Cody, we're doing a Friday Night Lights that we've heard different towns are doing. So we're meeting at 8:20 tonight, and everyone's driving around the football field for 20 minutes and honking their horns with the scoreboard with 2020. So not sure how that's going to work, but I'll get back to you next week and let you know. So I do know we actually had to get permission from the state because the state highway from Yellowstone runs by our football field. So we had to get a parade permit, but we got one, and that's going to be tonight. And every Friday till graduation.
Yeah, I know a lot of schools did it last week, and in Riverton, it was huge. I mean, huge turnout. Like by our high school, there was just a line of cars as far as you could see. It was pretty cool. Okay, guys, at this point, I just wanted to give everyone a chance to kind of just open it up. Maybe some hot topics that have come up for you this week. If there's any follow-up that you want to do from something we've already talked about, just kind of open the mic up. Truly, this is my favorite part of our meetings where we can just talk about what's going on or what supports and resources you might continue to need. If you're comfortable, go ahead and we'll just take turns unmuting our mic, or you can type it in the chat box.
Hi, I'm a school counselor. Rebecca Loom is my name, and I work here in Worland. And I'm K-5. I'm in 3 elementary schools here, and we're doing the second step program. I am K-5, and they have the online videos, which is really nice. But in our district, where they have me doing the standards, social emotional learning standards, and assessments. So I actually am putting marks on the card, and I just don't know a way to really do that. I just want to know, is this a unique thing for our district, or are other counselors in the same boat with doing the standards and assessment?
Our district doesn't do the standards and stuff, but I do help out like the health teacher and the PE teacher, and we kind of follow along with their standards when it comes to the wellness piece. And so her and I will kind of work together with even the second step stuff.
Can anyone else speak to that for their district?
I can just say no, but that's great that you can. Like, that's like, I've never heard of anybody in Wyoming actually doing that. Like that, you know, having something that you are required to, is it like on their, you said like of the standards, is it something like actually in the report card, or just like where?
Yeah,
like,
it is. And I just don't know. I do not really want to try to assess the kids this last quarter, you know.
Yeah, and that's super tough when like they're not, like a lot of those, like even with the counseling IEP goals too, is a social goal, like a peer goal, and when they're not in their class or with their peers, it's really hard. But I think it's interesting that you do get to do that when you can do that in the real world.
Yeah. I don't know that it's such a great thing, but I like the program. I like the social, you know, the second step program, but to the standards and assessment stuff is a little over the top, I think. But
You know, Rebecca, when we had, when I was in Montana, we actually had counseling standards we had to do. They were separate from health standards and everything. It was your own counseling standards. We never did have to assess though. So I can't imagine doing that right now, given the circumstance.
Rebecca, this is Kayla Wilkinson in Natrona County again. I had just kind of a thought because I work with IEP students, and Suzanne had made a comment that made me go, oh yeah, I mean, because we have to put in, you know, we're doing progress reports right now that go out for our kids on IEPs. And one of the things when it comes to assessing progress, or, you know, one of the directions we were given was to kind of look at last quarter and to carry that over if at all possible, you know, unless there's some indication that something has dramatically changed with that particular student in these areas. We've just kind of carried over the same progress, you know, saying, okay, and then noting in the progress notes, you're saying, progress has remained the same due to the closure. It's difficult to assess, you know, whether this particular student has made this progress, this type of progress, or in some of the cases, like Suzanne had mentioned, where we're working very specifically on peer interactions and specific social skills. We've even written in there like there is no data. We have no data to be able to report on this due to the closure. So I don't know if maybe that's an option. Again, unless there's something very specific, where some safe to tell report got thrown in there and you're going, oh man, yeah, this kid really tanked when it came to their mental health, or then I would just kind of continue keep the grade the same if you can.
That's kind of my thought. And we have a not tested thing, but I'm just not sure with I have to check to see with every school that I work in, but that's kind of where I was thinking I would go with it, like you were saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. What else, guys? Topics you'd like to cover while we have a large group on here? I've got about 68 participants today, which is awesome. Let's try to tackle anything that you have going on that you need opinions on.
Hi, this is John O'Connor from the Natrona County School District in Casper. I was wanting to talk a little bit about Hathaway and how we might be able to push the legislature and have conversations with the WDE regarding that. With the lack of testing that's happening, so many students are not going to be able to retest or take the work keys to get into that lowest category for the Hathaway that they were hoping for. I'm just wondering what other people are thinking with regard to that. In the future, we can talk about maybe working with the legislature to talk about testing in the future, because ACT is big on super scoring now, and they're moving to the individual section testing starting this fall. So I think that's a conversation we can have for later. But right now, I'm just real concerned with students that are not able to retest or take the work keys, and how that's going to shake out for them with regard to Hathaway.
I need to look, John, but I swear I saw something on work keys that said they were going to extend it. Have you seen that? The timeline for it?
I have not seen anything with regard to that, yeah.
I'll need to go through my stuff, but I thought I got something that said they were going to extend it to early June,
yeah,
which may or may not help us.
I was going to say, I'm thinking that the earliest we're going to see kids testing in any kind of capacity, the earliest I'm thinking would be August. I just don't. I don't mean to be negative, but I don't think we're going back to school this year. So. Yeah.
I know with my kids that do the work keys, I don't know, it's going to be hard for them when we do, if it does get extended too, just to be in the right frame of mind and have those skills, and might need a little time to work and prep with them before they take it. I don't know if Dr. Aldrich, are you on?
I am, Amy, and there was a SUPS memo that just came out this week about Hathaway. I'm just looking for it right now, and I will put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I saw that. That talked about credit and talked about pass-fail. It did not address testing at all, and that's why I had this, kind of follow-up question. Yeah. It talked about the kids needing to have the core courses, and that pass-fail would be accepted as far as credits go, but it did not address testing.
John, I will forward your question to Brad and see if and send him a message right now and see if maybe I can get a quick response before this call's over.
Yeah, I know he's up to his eyeballs, so we can maybe get to it next time as well.
John, this is Lisa, and I know that last week I was forwarded an email from Wanda Maloney, and it's on the Governor's Education Task Force, and they sent out a survey for high school to post-secondary transitions. They're looking for concerns that we have, where they'll be able to support students and schools in that transition. And I know because I work so closely with our seniors, I was the one who gave input on that survey, and that was definitely a concern that that I shared with them. And I am probably 90% positive that it came across many superintendents, who asked for input on that was definitely a concern with the Hathaway and the testing. So I know that it's there, it's in the, it's in that upper level with the Department of Ed. So hopefully we'll get some answers on what we're going to be doing for those kids that either didn't test or didn't get to retest. I have the exact same concerns you do, John. So thank you very much for bringing that up.
John, another possible idea to explore for helping kind of advocate on this behalf is using our community colleges and the university and seeing if maybe that's something WDE would let us do as a work keys at the beginning of a academic term, especially for our seniors. We know that they have the chance to take the ACT again until they start using, but that doesn't help them if they have a bill due right at the beginning of the semester. So maybe working with our community colleges and UW specifically to have a window where they are actually helping us in testing and seeing if they can hit that next level or tier of Hathaway. It might just be a way we work together.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that. That's what I was thinking, is that if we could have them have an opportunity sometime in that first semester of their school to either take the work keys or the ACT again, just extending that into the school year so that they'd have another opportunity. So great idea.
Sometimes we have some community college reps on here. If anyone's on, would you guys just maybe mention if any of that has come up at your end? May not be able to be on today. I know that we normally have some community college people on here, so. And work keys can help with accountability too, right? As far as our accountability model. So that would be another positive if we can get that testing extended for sure.
So we in Natrona County, we got a memo from our superintendent that said accountability was sort of canceled this year.
Yeah.
So, and that came from WDE. They basically said, look, we're not going to hold schools accountable this year because of the testing that can't happen and because of the situation. That was part of the governors having stated that we're in an emergency situation that allowed them to extend that to the school districts and say, yeah, we're off of that right at this time.
That's good to know. Thank you. Other input, thoughts, comments on work keys, testing?
I visited with Jessica at the state, I believe it was last week or the week before, about the possibility of still having a junior test, even though accountability's gone. And she gave me 3 different dates that they're thinking of. And so I just sent out an email to my juniors, and we've had well over 100 of the kids would like to take it. It's not required, but they'd still be able to have a voucher that the state would pay for it, so it'd be free for them. But one of those dates was June 2nd. I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. The others were, there was a couple in October. I think there's one in September and one in October, maybe next fall. So hopefully we'll be able to hear a little bit more whether those juniors can take the ACT where it doesn't cost them, and the vouchers will be able to fill that in.
Well, and I've been having conversations with our community college because we need those ACT scores for English placement and math placement. And so, yeah, just right now they're enrolling students for us with the expectation that we'll have a score for them before school starts in August. But again, like that'll be an impact moving forward also.
And I just got an email today from Western with a whole rubric on the bottom saying that part of this counselor recommendation, but they don't have to have the score for next year for the English and the math. And they had 4 or 5 different options for them. So I think those community colleges will send those probably out to their service areas.
We got that same information from Northwest College. That's who we work with for dual enrollment. They're going to use just their grade in their English class this semester as a prerequisite for English. And then they're like working to get the ALEX so that we can administer it. It doesn't have to have a proctor, I guess, the ALEX placement test. So they're going to use that for math, but they're setting up accounts or some kind of thing for all of the different schools. And then we can just give the student the code to go on and take the math placement test. So again, like working on some creative ways to get around the ACT prereqs on those classes.
Amy, this is Michelle from Department of Ed. And John, Brad is typing right now. He was asking if you guys are talking about ACT and work keys, and I said yes. So he's typing a response right now, so don't go anywhere fast.
So as Brad is typing, is there a different topic or conversation we want to have while we're waiting?
I just had a question for Michelle, and I don't know if she saw it in the chats or not, about the career facilitator training this summer. If those in-person ones are still planning to be in person, or if what those are going to look like for June and August.
Sure. So those are still planning to go forward, and only the first day and the last day of those sessions are normally face-to-face. Although for the last 3 sessions, the last day has also been virtual for the most part. So we are looking at the first day being face-to-face, but that will probably, in all reality, be the only face-to-face day. So,
okay. Thanks, Michelle.
And districts that are having a hard time spending out their Perkins money, just a reminder that they can use that Perkins funding for that training. Brad's answer says that the short answer is that no, there has been no relief on testing in the Hathaway at this point. Sorry, I know that wasn't the answer you wanted to hear.
They've kind of had their hands full, so I get it.
Well, might just be something we keep asking, or just kind of maybe pushing that, because I do have several kids that if they can't do work keys, they may not go to college at all, because they're going to be their gateway. So I do think it's important that we keep advocating for maybe an extension or looking at it. But
Amy, a great idea would be for counselors who are concerned about that, or maybe as an organization, for you guys to send an email or a letter to Brad, and his supervisor, which is Wanda Maloney.
All right, any other comments around work keys, testing, ACT, or any other thoughts? We have about 5 minutes left before we sign off for today.
Sorry to dominate, but
oh, you're good.
I think that I just wanted high school counselors to know that they can assure that they can, in a lot of ways assure their seniors that this is not going to be a problem for them and their juniors as far as pass-fail grades go. Colleges have been following that really closely, and by and large, the majority of colleges are saying that that is not going to be an issue. They're going to take that into consideration. They'll be looking at that for the next 4 years. That this is obviously a very special circumstance, and a lot of colleges that haven't been test optional have gone test optional, so that kids don't have to submit test scores for next year because they understand that it's so hard for them to be in a space to take those tests, even when they're going to be available, as you mentioned. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I've wondered if this is going to make kind of be a game changer in the future because so many schools are going test optional. That might be something future-wise too.
All right, guys, so as we wrap up for today, we will continue to meet weekly. If you have ideas or suggestions or a hot topic question, anything like that, just remember amason@fremont24 is my email, and I will, if you need a quick response, I'll reach out to people, or if you want it on the agenda, I will definitely get it on there. I'm looking for ideas, suggestions, again, just on how things can keep moving forward and looking good. I know a couple people in their survey also said, it'd be nice to talk about some of the things that we're doing now, and it's such a good thing that we're doing. Why don't we continue that when we're back in traditional schools? So moving away from maybe our COVID responses and talking more about next year, how we can continue. For example, like I love these meetings, and I would love to continue doing this maybe once a month moving forward. So just taking some of these positives that we've got going on in the middle of this chaos, and how do we continue to use those and build on them. So we appreciate your feedback. Again, feel free to email me. We love hearing from you, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Hey, Amy, it's Robin Phillips over in Rock Springs.
Yeah.
And I was able to join you after my MDT this morning. Can I trouble you to just go over a few of the graduation ideas that were shared prior to about 9:20 this morning?
Sure. So do you have access to the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so on the agenda, I think we took some notes.
Okay.
So let me
I was
find
kind of
it.
glancing through the chat, but it was responses to things that were shared, and so it didn't make a lot of sense.
Right. So if you go to the agenda, there are some ideas on there using the football field, and they have it gridded out, so it'll support social distancing. They had, like, seniors were going to use like golf carts and come up and do it that way. using cars in the parking lot, and then as the seniors, they actually pull up to get their diploma. And then we kind of switched to more, not just graduation, but then just how are we celebrating our seniors?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know our school district is holding firm in Sweetwater County 1 to, we are having graduation May 18th at 7:00 p.m. in our stadium until they hear otherwise, obviously. Yeah. But I know that our administration is starting to try and collect ideas. Yeah. Just to have our backup plans. So I was really curious what was shared earlier that I missed.
Wyoming Connections Academy said that they're having a meeting next week with the international version of their program, and they're gonna get some ideas from them because they always do like a virtual graduation.
Yep.
So yeah, so she said that she'd bring back some ideas. It sounds like a lot of people are, since we don't know what May will look like yet, they're just starting to think contingencies, right? So I know like we're a smaller school. They had talked about maybe just allowing the seniors in, and we have those cameras that record the athletic events. Right. And so they were going to record it, and it's live feed. So families, grandparents, whatever, could just connect to the live feed and do it that way.
That's awesome.
Kara up in Pal said that, you know, they have a drive-in movie theater. So that had been, you know, maybe a contingency was to use that and do like videos to show like valedictorian speeches. I know that's one thing that some of the schools have talked about, like recording their valedictorian and salutatorian speeches and putting them out on social media. Board members, what else did I miss? Or
I really like the senior adoption idea. Yeah, that was really neat. I know they do that at Western for international students. They have their staff members adopt kids and stuff. So, all right. Well, thanks for staying on a little extra.
Yeah.
This is recorded, so I can go back. I didn't think about that. Go back and watch it in a little bit.
Yep.
Right.
Robin, the only other thing I can think of that we talked about a little bit is that there was talk of a parade of vehicles for the seniors as well, in addition to many of these other options, so that the whole community could celebrate, you know, safely.